Corporal Ron Francis fought to put the spotlight on PTSD. It was an illness he struggled with personally in recent years. But yesterday, the 22-year veteran of the RCMP was found dead after he killed himself. And his death is bringing even more attention to an issue that plagues many first responders. Harry Forestell has reaction from Fredericton.
This was how Ron Francis grabbed national attention, lighting up a joint of medical marijuana, the treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder approved by his bosses, but not in uniform, not in public.
I do have the legal right to smoke it in my red surge.
Defying RCMP rules couldn't go unnoticed, but it was a risk Francis was willing to take.
Ronnie's whole goal was never about smoking marijuana. It was about bringing to light that the RCMP was not providing adequate services to its officers who suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. The marijuana was a red herring.
20 years of my life.
But it got a reaction. RCMP seized his uniforms, ordered Francis to surrender his beloved red surge. Distraught, lurching from crisis to crisis, he was detained for psychiatric assessment, arrested for assaulting fellow officers. Sent to a treatment center in BC, he left after just 3 days.
These are times when obviously I sit alone and ask, what could I have done?
Today, RCMP Commander Roger Brown mourned Ron Francis, but said the force had offered treatment, had done all it could.
This wasn't a pot smoking issue. This wasn't a red surge issue. This wasn't a uniform issue. This was a cry for help and a need to raise the awareness as to what PTSD really is.
It was, in the end, a life and death issue. News of Francis's suicide shocked colleagues and left his small First Nations community of Kingsclear in mourning. Today, his childhood friend demanded more support for victims of PTSD.
The provincial government and the federal government need to develop an initiative, not only in New Brunswick, but through all provinces, that will allow first responders to receive actual treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder.
In his last interview with CBC News a month ago, Francis acknowledged his struggle with PTSD was reaching its limit.
I'm hoping what I've been through will help others, but right now I'm the one that's sort of in crisis.
Ron Francis was just 43 years old when he died, a 22-year veteran of the RCMP and a father of 4. Harry Forestell, CBC News, Fredericton.
Police officers, firefighters, and paramedics are all hesitant to speak publicly about the terrible things they see on the job. But Corporal Francis did open up about some of his struggles.
I still am plagued by flashbacks to this day of wiping brains from my boot every time I see a black doormat. That's called a trigger.
Francis says he responded to many traumatic incidents on the job and encountered dangerous situations as a Mountie. He said his diagnosis of PTSD came in 2012 after authorities discovered one man's plot to kill him.